Welcome to all who are joining us this afternoon. Thank you for taking some time out of your day, out of your evening, wherever you may be located. My name is Kevin Dina. I'm the Director of Undergraduate Admissions at American University. I specifically work with our special populations, which does include our veterans, as well as transfer students. So really excited to be able to chat and share a little bit more about American University and what you can expect as a student enrolling and applying to the university. So here I always love to just start with a AU by the numbers. It's really a snapshot of everything that you can expect when you're on campus. Whether it's our over 60 different majors and programs across 6 different schools, which I will speak more in depth about in a few slides. Our 16 dining halls, 11 residential halls that are continuing to grow and be updated, over 150 different clubs and organizations for students to be a part of. Students coming from truly not only all over the country, but all over the world. As it currently stands, we have 50 students from all 50 states, as well as over 110 different countries represented. About 11% of our students are international students. The small class size that you can enjoy here on campus, being on average about 23 students per class. So you will definitely know exactly who your professor is. They will know exactly who you are. You will build that strong bond within your classroom environment. And then again, just a few of the hallmarks of the things that make AU a great place to study and learn. Things like our study abroad opportunities, which all students are eligible to participate in. About 60% of our students will participate in some sort of study abroad opportunity at some point during their undergraduate career. And then truly, again, the internships, being that we are located in Washington, D.C., which I'll get into in just a few moments. About 90% of our students will complete at least one internship during their undergraduate career, but many students on average are completing more than 1, 2, 3, and above that. DC is truly a city that is run by interns, and so you will have all of those opportunities available to you, regardless of what you're majoring in, regardless of what field or career you are interested in pursuing. And the way that I typically will describe American University to students who maybe have never stepped foot on our campus or may not be as familiar with Washington, D.C. is that we are very much a metropolitan urban campus, but only when students want it to be. We truly do have the best of both worlds. We sit on 91 acres of a traditional college campus environment, very much in a bubble. All of our academic buildings, dorms, athletic fields, performing arts centers, for the most part, are all on our main part of campus. We do have a metro stop that is right down the street for students to utilize as again, another resource. But we also, again, have Washington, D.C. and downtown D.C., Capitol Hill, the Smithsonian, the National Mall, just a few metro stops away. We do sit on the Red Line, which is the oldest line in Washington, D.C. And so, again, going back to that idea of being the best of both worlds. Our students can enjoy the downtown DC environment for their internships, for the events that are going on, just to enjoy the city as much or as little as they want. They can be down there every day, every weekend. But our students, again, find it really refreshing that they don't have to be surrounded by it 24/7. It is whatever balance that they choose. Sustainability is something that is extremely important to us. We are the first carbon neutral university in the United States. We are a full arboretum with over 130 different types of trees. So you can be assured that not only are you coming to a beautiful campus in the city, but we are a very green campus, both again in our sustainability and then also in our makeup of just having a lot of greenery around campus. And then, as I'd mentioned, just all of the benefits of being in Washington, D.C., in your nation's capital, with all of the internships that are available, the world-class art, cuisine, sports, the Smithsonian, the events that are happening in D.C. There's always something happening here for all of our students to enjoy. We never want the metro, which is extremely accessible for all of our students to utilize, to be a barrier. While it is not necessarily expensive for students to take the metro, we do provide students as a part of their tuition and their fees a unlimited U-Pass, which does give all of our full-time enrolled students unlimited access to all of the metro and all of the public transportation that DC has to offer, which does bleed into Maryland and Virginia as well. And if you are not, again, as familiar with AU and kind of our overall location, as I mentioned, we are located right in Washington, D.C., in Northwest D.C., about 4 miles away from the White House and kind of that Capitol Hill area. But as I'd mentioned, we do sit on the Red Line, which is the oldest line in Washington, D.C. It goes straight through Center City. And so in just a few metro stops, you can be downtown internships or just to enjoy the city around you. It is not uncommon for our students to have a 9 a.m. class, be on the metro at 10 a.m. For an internship that starts at 10:30, and then be back on campus for an afternoon event, a club, organization, or just to have dinner with some friends. As I mentioned, we are a smaller community, smaller to medium size. I like to say we have somewhat of a Goldilocks effect in that sense. We have about 8,000 undergraduate students and then about 6,000 graduate and law students, but we do try and keep everything relatively small, with average class size being right around 23 students. And here are our 6 schools of study. As an applicant, you will be reviewed for all of these schools. If you are applying as a first-year student, we will not take into account whatever school you're applying for. If you are applying as a transfer student, we will weigh that a little bit more heavily in the application process for our transfer students. But again, here are our 6 schools of study. Some of the hallmarks are our larger school, our College of Arts and Sciences, hosts our humanities and our STEM programs. One of our largest and fastest growing schools, our School of Business, which hosts things such as our Entrepreneurship and Innovation Center, School of International Service, which has International Studies as its singular major, our School of Public Affairs, which is host to our Policy and Law program, as well as our Politics program, which is typically our largest singular major. And then 2 of our smaller schools, School of Education and School of Communication, which are preparing students for certification in education, as well as being prepared to study journalism, public relations, and things of that sort. If anybody does have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm more than happy to answer any specific questions about any of the schools or programs that may be available at AU. And so looking at what to expect in some resources, all of our students will participate in the AU Core. This is a set of courses that you will take over your either 4 years or condensed version if you are a transfer student. While we are a research-based institution, we do build this on a liberal arts course, so every student will be taking a little bit of everything. Our AUX or AU Experience courses is a full year AU Core curriculum course that typically will take place in your first year of your first year as a first-year student, or first year of your transitioning year. And it really is those resources and that kind of baseline of everything that you can expect on campus. And then we do have a full comprehensive advising model, both for first-year students and continuing students as they progress through their own academic units. I will also mention that we do have a wide array of resources specifically for our veterans and military-connected students. We are a yellow ribbon institution. We have an office of 3 individuals right now that are working full-time within our Veterans Affairs office, as well as a Veterans Lounge. So they are extremely well equipped to help all of our veterans apply those GI bills, apply any of those other benefits that they may be receiving, be there as a resource, as a friend, and provide a true level of expertise in that transition from your military background to being a student on our campus. So now we're going to work through a little bit of how to apply. First, I will focus on first-year applicants. So here's our breakdown of our first-year applications for, again, those first-year applicants. We have a few different decisions. The majority of our students will apply regular decision, which is a January 15th deadline. That is non-binding. But we also do offer early decision 1 and early decision 2. Those are both binding for students that absolutely are sure that they want to come to American and be a student here. So again, this is kind of a full breakdown of what to expect in terms of the timeline. Our application does open up August 1st for all of these applications. Students that apply regular decision will find out their decision typically in the middle of March. And then here on the right-hand side, you can also see a admitted student profile. Here's our middle 50 for our GPA, as well as some middle 50s for our test scores. We are entirely test optional. We have been test optional for over a decade now. And so if you were that student that said, I don't want to submit my test scores, I don't fall into this middle 50, totally fine. Do not submit your test scores. We will not review them. They will not play a role in your application if you decide not to submit them. And so this is kind of an overall breakdown of what to expect in terms of the timeline and what our admitted student profile does look like. And then here is, again, just a checklist of all the things that we do ask our first year students to submit in their application. A Common App, so submit obviously the full application. There's a $75 application fee. However, being that you are all veterans and applying as veterans, you can feel free to check off. There is a fee waiver checkbox on the application. If you check that box off, it will waive the application fee. So feel free to go ahead and check that box off so you don't have to pay that $75. In addition to that, we'll ask for your high school transcript, a secondary school report, test scores if you decide to submit them, the application essay, and then one letter of recommendation. It can be from a teacher, but we can also accept one if it is from somebody who was a mentor, one of your commanders, somebody who, again, had an impact and can speak on your behalf, both on an academic level, but also on a personal and professional level as well. And then we do ask that you submit the resume and activity report with everything that you've been involved in. As a service to school member and participate, we do also ask that all of those students submit a military addendum. This is a great tool and a great resource for both you and for us to be able to put your military service on a resume. It is geared specifically for those who are veterans, who have had that military service, and really caters to the work that you were doing during that time. And so that is a great tool for us to be able to understand better what you were accomplishing during your service. And now looking at transfers and how to apply as a transfer student, which the majority of our veterans that are applying do ultimately apply as transfer students. So in terms of the timeline, I would say it's a little bit simpler. We do have two timelines in terms of preferred deadlines for students that are looking to start in the fall semester. We ask that you submit your application by May 1. Typically, those students will receive their decision by June 1, between June 1 and June 15th. And then if you're looking to start in the spring, we ask that you submit your application by October 1st. And similarly, those students will find out their decision between November 1st and November 15th. For these students, again, most of the students that are applying as veterans are considered transfer students just because they've had completed at least some college coursework. We do also accept up to 30 JST, those joint service transcript credits. And so if you have never attended a college or university, but you do have a JST, you would at American University be considered a transfer student. And so we would take those JST credits, and we would put them towards your ultimate graduation plan. And then here again is our checklist for our transfer students. It is a little bit shorter, but we do again ask that you submit that application, that full application. Same thing applies with the fee waiver. Just check that box so that you can have that fee waived. We will need the official transcripts from any college or university that you have attended, including those JSTs, as I mentioned earlier, and then a high school transcript if you have less than 24 credits. We do ask if students had a break in their academic progression to submit an interruption of study statement. This can be as simple as just saying that, between high school and now applying, you were in the military. That would totally suffice. We don't need anything that is incredibly long. We just want to know of what you were ultimately doing between the time, again, that you last attended some sort of academic progression or academic plan. And then you can still submit a letter of recommendation, but it is optional for our students. And then overall, students are eligible to submit up to 60 credits. As I'd mentioned, up to 30 of those can be JST credits. And it is pretty straightforward. If you have a C or better in a course, typically those credits will transfer over, with the exception of internships, independent studies, ESL courses, orientation courses, vocational courses, and remedial courses. But we are pretty good about, again, accepting most of the credits that students are transferring into us. We also have a full database of all credits that we've already articulated on our website. So I'd encourage you to check that out, because chances are, if you were trying to transfer in a course from a specific college or university, there's a good chance that we've already articulated it as a part of our database system. And stay connected with us. Here you can see all of our different social media handles. Instagram tends to be extremely popular. Our phone number is listed there. Our general email is admissions@american.edu. If you ultimately email us and let us know that you're a veteran, you're just looking for more information, those will get ultimately forwarded over to me. My email address is kmedina@american.edu. That's KMEDINA@american.edu. So if you want to reach out to me directly, again, I'm the one that will be overseeing the application process for any of our veterans applying. And so would love to have a conversation with you, set up a Zoom to have a chat, set up a phone call, just to, again, help answer any of your questions or again, have you get excited about attending American University. That ultimately concludes my time and again, presenting on AU. We truly do hope that you will consider American for all of the wonderful programs that we do have for the community and for having you join our community. If you do have any questions, either here now or in the future, please feel free to reach out to me. More than happy to have any of those questions answered and again, to help make this process as smooth as possible. I will stop sharing my screen now. Looks like we may have some questions in the chat. Perfect. So see one question that says, when you say that school you're applying to is taken into account for your transfer application, what exactly does that mean? Does it mean that the different schools might have more or less selective requirements, or does it just mean that each school is looking for different qualities in each prospective student? So we've actually updated a little bit of this process this past year. Previously, before this year, we did have different minimum GPA requirements for each school. Moving forward, we've actually made them all the same at this point. So any student who is above a 2.0 GPA will be considered for all of our schools at the transfer level. Now, again, that 2.0 is for students to be considered. Most students that are competitive applicants will have typically above a 2.6 GPA. On average, our transfer students are coming in with above a 3.0 GPA. But that's really all that it means. We're not necessarily looking for a specific, this school has this many seats available and this school has, more or less selectivity. It's really just so that we can make sure that our students are receiving the utmost resources. So if a school is starting to see that their enrollment at the latter end is at the higher end and we may run out of classes, we just try and keep tabs of that a little bit more. So not anything you necessarily have to worry about. We have plenty of students that also will come in as undecided and then pick their major a little bit later on. But again, it's not a huge, it's not something huge. It's going to impact your application heavily. They're viable housing options for students with families. That's a great question. So I will say at the baseline, we do have transfer housing available for our students. So just again, at a baseline, we do have transfer housing available for students. It is dorm style housing. So that may not be as feasible for those who have a family. We do also have great relationships with a lot of the different housing complexes, as well as a few different apartments in the area, and those are considered off-campus housing. But because of the relationships that we've built and because of those kind of pseudo partnerships, we can typically coordinate with our Veterans Affairs office to at least point students in the right direction to say, we've had individuals, we have a lot of students that live in this apartment complex or this housing complex, and this might be a good option for those who are bringing in their full family. So there may not be any specific partnerships established, but again, we do have great relationships with a lot of the different areas within our neighborhood because we are located in a very residential neighborhood. Is American known as a feeder school for highly regarded professional schools, including law school, MBA programs, and medical school? Yes, so we definitely have great relationships with all of those mentioned. We do have the Washington College of Law, which is our American University Law School. Many students will ultimately end up continuing their education at our own law school. And some students will ultimately obviously come in just applying for the law school. We do have a few different specialized programs which will expedite that process to get to law school as well. Same applies for MBA programs. We do have a wide array of different programs that students can apply for. We have 4+1 graduate programs that are all under AU's umbrella. But consistently every single year, we are sending students to top law schools, medical schools, and MBA programs in the nation. So regardless of if you are staying on campus for a master's and a graduate degree, or if you are looking to head elsewhere to another program, we will help provide those services and those resources for any student who is looking to continue their education at the graduate level. And then also, how do alumni tend to engage with undergraduate students? We have a robust alumni network. The mayor of Washington, D.C. is an AU alum. Judge Judy is an AU alum. So again, we are very, very well connected in terms of our alumni network. They're consistently coming back to campus. Can't tell you enough how many times I've been driving in another state and have been wearing an American University hoodie or sweatshirt or t-shirt or what have you. And somebody stopped me and just said, "Oh, I attended AU." So we have a very robust network of again, those alumni that are always willing to help students in whatever career path or whatever professional path they're looking to go forward with. So I see another question for active duty members who are not able to take any classes while in the military due to deployment scheduling, etc. What can they do best position themselves to transfer to AU? It's a great question, Avery. So for those who are active duty and unable to take courses because of their deployments and scheduling, again, that's totally fine. We have veterans that come in every year without any credits whatsoever as first-year students. We have veterans that come in as transfer students. Again, we are very well equipped to help support these students in terms of our office being on the larger side and having, a dedicated space for our veterans. Again, if you are a service to school member, definitely fill out that military addendum. It helps us so much in understanding your military experience and the work that you did while serving. And so that is a huge benefit to us. And we do really try and read all of our veteran applications with that service in mind. And so essentially what I typically will do is I'll look and see if we have any veterans in our pool, which we do every single year. And I'll take a second or third look at all of those applications to make sure that we are ultimately, admitting as many admissible veterans, because we do want you as a part of our campus. And again, just be forthright with all of the service that you've accomplished, fill out the application in full, and truly do utilize Service to School as a resource. We've been a partner member for this past, a little bit going on over a year at this point. And we have enjoyed being a partner so much because of all of the resources that Service to School does offer, all of its students that they're working with. Use the ambassadors. If you ever want to reach out to me, and I will put my information in the chat, send me an email. I'm more than happy to jump onto a Zoom call, even if it is kind of at different hours that might be out of that normal Eastern time zone hours, just because based on deployment, things of that sort. More than happy to jump on a call. If any students are interested, I'm happy to connect them with our Veterans Affairs office to talk about any benefits or any other resources, or connect you with a student on our campus that is a veteran, military connected, and potentially a student who is in the same branch as you are to help build that relationship and help kind of work through that process. I just threw my email in the chat, so if anybody does have any questions, feel free to reach out to me again at any point. Would love to have a conversation, even if you are, very early on in the process. If you have no idea what you want to major in, or if your service doesn't end for a year, 2 years, whatever it is, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to set up a conversation and we can chat and look forward and kind of try and set up a progression plan of what the next kind of timeline may look like and what application cycle or what type of application you may be best suited for. Wonderful. Well, thank you all again for joining us. If anybody does, again, have any questions or wants to connect, My email is in the chat, but I will say it again for those who may be viewing this as a separate recording. Again, my name is Kevin Medina, and my email address is kmedina@american.edu. That's kmedina@american.edu. Thank you all for joining, and have a great rest of the day. And again, thank you again.